The Ainu are the indigenous people of the northern Japanese, primarily Hokkaido. Historically, their lives were built on a deep spiritual connection with nature, governed by the belief in Kamui, which is a spirit deities. Every animal, plant, and tool was seen as a guest from the spirit world. However, the Meiji Restoration in 1868 brought aggressive assimilation policies. The Ainu were forced to adopt Japanese names, speak Japanese, and abandon traditional practices like salmon fishing and tattooing. Today, while the Ainu are officially recognized as indigenous, they live in a modern hybrid reality. Most Ainu live in urban settings, yet many are leading a cultural revitalization, fighting to preserve a language that is nearly extinct, and a worldview that prioritizes ecological balance over industrial growth.
In Ainu culture, women traditionally have tattoos around their mouth. This tattoo is not for fashion or rebellion. It represents womanhood, maturity, and spiritual protection. The Ainu believe that the tattoo protects women from evil spirits and prepare them from adulthood. This shows that Ainu culture is strongly values tradition and collective identity, where personal appearance reflects cultural beliefs. Moving on to the scene 2, the bear god, which is about Ayamante ceremony. In this scene, the Ainu people believe perform the Ayamante ceremony where a bear is sacrificed. Although it looks violent to outsiders, this bear is actually believed to be a god in animal form. The ceremony is done with prayers, tears, and offerings to show respect and gratitude. This reflects Ainu culture beliefs that human and nature are spiritually connected, not enemies. Last but not least, the scene 3, which is the fire offering. Before eating, the Ainu people offers drop of alcohol into the fire. In their culture, fire is believed to be a female god who communicates with one of the spirits. This ritual shows gratitude and respect before receiving food. It highlights how Ainu culture integrates spiritual beliefs into everyday life, not just during special ceremonies. Overall, this scene shows that Ainu culture is deeply spiritual, community-oriented, and respectful towards the nature.
So what are the cultural values that have been violated? So the first one is the violation of respect for cultural identity. So this can be seen in the first scene, which is the smile of ink. We can see the Ainu women with a mouth tattoo. In the Ainu culture, this tattoo is a symbol of identity, beauty, and tradition. However, in the modern society, especially when compared with Malaysian culture, such tattoos may be seen as strange and unacceptable. So this clearly shows a violation of respect for cultural identity because people judge the Ainu culture using modern beauty standard. The second one, we can see it from the second scene, which is the bear god. We can see the villagers, they were performing a ritual for the bears. For the Ainu people, the bear is considered a sacred and spiritual being. However, outsiders may misunderstand this ritual as cruelty or violence. So this violates the cultural value of respect for traditional beliefs and spirituality because the spiritual meaning behind the ritual is ignored. Then, in scene 2 and scene 3, we can see the Ainu people's relationship with nature. In Ainu culture, nature, animals, and fire are seen as living and sacred. In contrast, modern society, they treat nature as something to control or use. They treat nature as resources. So this shows a violation of harmony between humans and nature. Finally, we can see it that the cultural values that have been violated is the value of respect for rituals and sacred practices. We can see it from the third scene, which is the fire offerings. fire is treated as sacred and used in rituals. However, modern society they sees fire only as a practical tool for cooking. So we can see that this clearly violates the value of respect for rituals and sacred practices. So in conclusion, the video shows that Ainu cultural values are violated when their traditions, beliefs, and way of life are judged through a modern perspective instead of being understood and respected.
So now let's jump on to the cultural shock scenes. So in this video, we also included some scene that shows cultural contrast, or we also known as cultural shock, to help viewers of our video to understand how unique Ainu traditions are compared to modern culture we are used to these days. Now let's start with scene 1, which is the smile of In. After showing the Ainu woman with the traditional upturned mouth tattoo, which is very unique, then in the video we also shows you modern Malaysian street scene, seeing people without any facial tattoo like the Ainu culture. It also shows how normal things in one culture like the facial tattoo is actually so unusual and also surprising to people from the other culture. It also helps us, the audience, to notice how unique and also meaningful this culture and tradition is. Moving on to the second scene, which is the bear god. As you can see in the video, during the bear ritual, the villagers treat the bear as a sacred and also a divine being. They offer praise and also gifts to the animal. Then we contrast that with modern hunting imagery. This difference is very striking. While one culture approaches animals spiritually and with deep respect, the other one, which is us these days, treats them mostly as resources only. That contrast really makes we think about how different cultures actually connect with nature. So in scene 3, which is the fire offering, where the fire ritual, we show Ainu family members offering steak into the fire as a spiritual act for them. Right after, we cut to a modern kitchen where we use stove or fire to cook. The fire in kitchen is purely practical for us these days, in modern days, but in Ainu ritual, it is alive and also sacred. This makes us realize how everyday things like fire can actually carry a deep culture and also spiritual meaning for different culture.
Why this misunderstanding happened? Firstly, different cultural meaning. The misunderstanding happened because the same symbol can have very different meaning across culture. For example, facial tattoos may be viewed negatively in Malaysia. Meanwhile, for the Ainu, they represent womanhood, protection, and identity. When the outsiders do not understand this, they easily misjudge the practice. Secondly, different culture with nature. Many cultures see nature as something human control or use for survival. However, the Ainu believe human and animal are spiritual connected. This is why the bear sacrifice is done with respect and prayers. Outsiders may see it as a cruelty, but for the Ainu, it is an act of honoring the bear spirit. Lastly, different spiritual belief. Misunderstanding also come from the different in religious practice. While fire is commonly seen as a danger or tool, the Ainu believe fire is a sacred grandmother deity. Feeding the fire before eating is a sign of respect. Without knowing the belief, outsiders may see this practice as a strange or unnecessary.
Studying the Ainu taught me that culture isn't a fixed set of artifacts. It is a way of preserving the world. I learned that assimilation doesn't just change names, it changes how a person relates to the earth. The most profound takeaway is the concept of Ainu Pur, which is the Ainu spirit, is the resilience to remain human, which is what Ainu means. In a society that often tries to label you as the other, It challenged my own views on progress, making me realize that the Ainus feminine values of sustainability are perhaps more modern and necessary now than the masculine drive for constant expansion.